everyone. Welcome to our first ever Grizzly Show podcast. I'm Lola.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily.
And today we'll be talking about National Cybersecurity Awareness Month and National Cyberbullying Awareness Month. So y'all, what's cyber safety to y'all?
Cyber safety to me is going through large platforms like the internet or any online platform and without putting yourself at risk, right, to various viruses, to other people, right, or just any kind of malicious intent.
Do you guys think that there is such a thing as cyber safety? Is it even possible to be safe on the internet?
I believe so, because it's a matter of knowing where you're putting your identification or identity. Like, you don't just go to a random website and put in your credit card details, because you can get scammed. You go to so that's been well known, well versed. You know they have good security lock and check. So you're like, okay, I trust these people. I've done my research about them, so I can buy from them. And making sure you don't use your real name, phone number, location whenever you're using all these apps or websites that you go to.
Yeah, and I mean, on a broader scale, obviously just putting yourself on any kind of platform where everybody can see you, where you're not in full control of your being, you do put yourself at a little bit of a risk. But like Lola said, you can take measures to not be at such a drastic risk. Like, obviously, don't give your credit cards to the websites when they it's like if you get a telephone call and they tell you you can get $3 million, all you have to do is send them your credit card. Chances are that you're not going to get the $3 million. If you do, good for you. But as far as we're concerned, it's just not the safe thing to do.
What I do for cyber safety, I have a folder with different passwords that I just make up on the spot. So they're 24 character long passwords. So
Nice.
I won't get hacked or anything.
That's really smart,
Very
actually.
smart.
Because a lot of people use the same
Mhm.
password over and over again.
True. When did y'all learn about cybersecurity?
I mean, as far as my own experience with cyber safety came, it was definitely when I was a really young kid, because I used to play all those online RPG games, like Adventure Quest and stuff.
Yes.
And so when I'd be playing those, I'd always find myself clicking on an ad and then bam, on the screen, 62 viruses picked up, right? Or I'd go on some online platform for that website and start talking to random people who I knew nothing about. And I definitely exposed myself to some stuff that I'm pretty sure 6-year-olds are supposed to be exposed to on the internet. And yeah, I think we've all had an experience like that at some point.
When I was a child, my dad, he would always go on about being careful, don't put your name or anything on the internet. So I was like, okay, I'll just create a whole new character and say that's me on the internet. And that's how I learned. And also since my dad always downloaded all these virus and protection on the computers, I was like, oh, that's a no site if the website won't go through. So I just learned through his lectures and how the computer would block certain websites from me.
Yeah, and you said something about you put your own you put a different username basically on that's a version of you that's not actually you on the internet. Let's talk about that for a second. How common that is to put fake versions of ourselves on the internet so that we can basically have digital freedom.
It's not really more of freedom. It's more of I just create say I don't put my real name or identity on there because I'm very paranoid of people finding me and finding out who I am. So I'm just okay, let me just say this is a fake name. And then whenever someone's hey girl, what's your address? I just give them an address to Antarctica or something. As a way to say, hey, this is my name, this is my address. I won't give them a specific address. I'll say, hey, I live in somewhere random. So they won't try to find me and hunt me down, because I hear horror stories friends say, I met this person on the internet and they were knocking on my door.
Right.
So it's more of paranoia trying to be fake on the internet.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm asking everybody here, how often do you guys put on a fake persona on the internet just for any kind of purpose?
I never do that. Nope.
Really?
Yeah.
Emily?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, look, okay.
What do you mean by fake?
Let's think just on a literal scale. I mean, obviously, anytime you sign up for something, you put a username, right?
Okay.
But things like Google, I'm assuming you put your real name, maybe. Things like Facebook require you to put your actual full name. But what about things like Instagram? You put yourself out there, but is that really the same you that you or your friends know? Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. But could you put yourself out there and be at any any more risk than being in person.
You get easily hunted down by kidnappers and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean,
specifically.
yeah, because you just don't know who's looking at that stuff.
Mhm.
Even if your profile's private, like you never know what people can do.
Right.
Because
Yeah. Now it can screenshot things, screen record things, and like take a picture of someone else's stuff and they can claim it as their own, or they'll like expose you for some reason. Like anyone can access your pictures, be it friends, family, and then post it anywhere and everywhere.
See, but that's the thing, though, is like some people are aware of all of this stuff that could happen, but some people aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how could people spread awareness? How could we allow people to know what's going on or what could happen?
I say like give them run-of-the-mill information, more of saying like, hey, if you post it, like I know like since middle school they always have those posters like think, and like no one took it seriously because they're like, I'll never do that.
Right.
But it's like true. You have to understand that you honestly do have to think before you post. You have to think, is there anything that like will make me look bad or ruin someone else's reputation? Will this actually harm or bully someone? Even if it is maybe an inside joke, someone could take it the other way around. Am I using a word that someone can get upset with? Things like that. You have to be aware, like not everyone will be satisfied with what you post, but also like be aware that you might unconsciously offend someone. Or someone will take that picture and use it against you in the future.
Right. And you see posters that talk about that thing all the time, like in your high school or just outside. People will talk about it on, little videos on YouTube. But on the greater scale, if I see a poster, in truth, I think, and everybody's like this to some degree, you're not going to take that poster and it's not going to like sit with you afterwards. You're not going to remember that poster 10 minutes later, and definitely not by the time you have your phone back out, because chances are if you're pulling your phone out to scroll through Instagram, you're already distracted and you're not thinking, how can I like THINK and go through every single, word and letter just to protect yourself out there. So I think that social media websites, the same platforms that we use to put ourselves out there, should be the same ones that provide the information on how to stay safe on a more accessible scale.
What about you, Jimmy?
I don't really use social media that much. I really run into that problems, but like something that I like do pay attention to is like website links, because like some of them can be phishing links, and like what a phishing link is like once you click them, it sends them your IP address and home address and everything. So yeah, so like it's very easy to get DDoSed or doxed on the internet.
How do you know a link is a phishing link?
Like the O has like an accent over it. Like you just have to like highlight over the link and look over it.
Or like look for specific details. I mean, like look off-putting.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have no idea what that is, though, like to begin with, right?
I had no idea that.
How did you come to know about that, and how would you get others to know the same thing?
Well, like when I first figured out what a phishing link was, I was like in 4th grade playing Minecraft.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Do you have any ideas on how we could get other people to get that same level of awareness as you?
I mean, it doesn't really happen that much unless you're like a massive a-hole on the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 7 billion people, and at least half of them have access to the internet.
There are people out there, and I just don't think people know about scams.
People are just sadistic sometimes. They just want to ruin someone's day or life because it's fun or funny. Like if you could watch this show, like I forgot the name, but it's on TV, where these two people hunt down catfishes who like would catfish someone in a relationship or catfish and bully them. Like let's go over into cyberbullying. Like catfishing is one of them, because you lead someone on thinking you're a certain person, and then you just like, I don't know, like depending on the person, they either like scam them out of money, a relationship, a home, a family, a life. It happens quite often, but no one ever talks about it. They make it a joke.
Right. And and it's definitely a lot easier to cyberbully for the simple fact that like you can put on a mask, right? And even if they know who it is on social media, it's like a form of liquid courage, basically, because that's not the real you. That's you're typing on a screen, right? You don't have to really confront anybody, and the consequences seem just as not drastic when you're on social media.
Like a slap on the wrist if someone catches you.
Exactly right. But you wouldn't call somebody. Right. Let me not say those words, but like you wouldn't say those things to somebody in person. You definitely wouldn't say them to their face, right? And so it's like being behind closed doors, because you really are, except the effect is still real for the victim in that case.
Exactly. Like I go off of the time where I was cyberbullied, like from middle school well into like freshman year, and people would just like take these two girls would always take my picture and post it everywhere, making fun of me, saying how like fat I looked, I was this and that, calling me names, and like whenever I reported it, nothing happened, right? Because nobody knows what to do when it's cyberbullying because they can't identify who is on the other side of the screen because of the anonymity of who they are. So I think like people should be aware that they may think it's a joke, but to the other person, it can like tarnish their like whole personality. It can ruin their courage, their confidence, how they self-identify.
Mm-hmm.
So like people have to honestly, like I know that we keep saying think a lot, but it's true. How would they feel? You feel if you were like bullied at the same time and everyone just laughed it off thinking it was a joke and you're over here suffering.
Yeah, and the thing is, we do like it does get seen as a joke, right? Everything on social media is to entertain,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like a digital reality show where anything goes basically, and we tell ourselves that it shouldn't. But then I have friends who go on social media and will post things about somebody, right, and just say, they did this, blah, 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 right? They won't say the name, but then the person knows exactly who they're talking about. And everybody else who's friends with that person on their story knows exactly who they're talking about, even though they didn't specifically say the name. And so as far as they're concerned, they weren't involved in any kind of cyberbullying, and yet somebody was still hurt and other people are still involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you make it more serious, right? How do you get people to understand the real effect of it?
Do you remember that time where it was on the news, like this girl made a video where she was saying how she was like bullied online, and she was like holding cards saying how she was bullied, called names, treated horribly by boys, and then after posting the video on YouTube, everyone was like making fun of her, saying, "Why are you being such a crybaby?" and all that stuff, and then she committed suicide. And so people don't understand that. And then that person commits suicide, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what happened? Why are they going on?" And it's the same people that were like making fun of her. People don't understand that. I think a lot of kids grow up hearing the term like sticks and stone may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words hurt a lot because people take that into how, especially when they hear at a young age, those words and that how they feel, especially as teenagers, we're most emotionally vulnerable. Vulnerable. We always take things into our heart saying, is this how other people see us? Is this how we should be?
Mm.
And then that can cross over the line for so many people. And sadly, some kids die because of it. And everyone jokes about it.
And just like Josh said, like people are posting more easily because they don't see the confrontation like face to face. They don't see how hurt someone could be, or they're not afraid to do it. And I think that's a new problem that we're having to face with this generation, because Facebook and Instagram weren't around in the 80s. Like they never had to deal with any of that. So this is all new problems that I don't think kids are able to understand because we haven't seen the effects yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all three, me, Lola, and Jeremy, we're not as involved in social media as, say, Emily.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Emily, from your perspective, like I had Instagram, Snapchat, all that, but I deleted it like a year ago. And so I'm not still as exposed to it as you are. So what are the examples that you actually see? Because I'm sure you're becoming some kind of form of cyberbullying while
Well, like with Instagram specifically, I mean, people will make profiles and stuff of other people. I think there was a Glenn website that was making fun of all of these teachers, and that's not nice. Like, but people don't understand the effects of that yet. Like the suicide rate, it's as high as it could be now, but I don't think kids are relating that to cyberbullying and the things that they're doing to other people as well. There's like, oh, kids are sad nowadays, but like really everybody has a part of why kids are sad.
Exactly. So let's think about what kind of anti-cyberbullying measures can we actually take?
Close the computer. That's it.
Put it away. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly,
yeah, but I mean, that's not gonna happen though.
Because
I mean,
is on it.
There's like a block button. You can also use that.
Yes, like
A lot of people don't use that, which is like really annoying.
Well, I mean, I would argue that social media, this is my completely biased but personal perspective, right? I would argue that social media is toxic, right?
yes.
You don't need it. I very much value in-person contact, right? I value the relationships that I have with people who are really here with me in real time, right? Not over a screen. But I mean, these kids, right? they have a tool, right? They have phones. They pay for the phone. The app is right there in the app store. 3 million downloads, right? They're going to join it, right? Especially at an age where you're so vulnerable to any kind of manipulation or any kind of identity, right? To get with. So how do we get kids to be safe without just completely getting rid of social media altogether? Because that's just not going to happen.
I believe, first off, I agree with Jeremy with weeks of blocking. It is, in my opinion, like going off from my experience, like I have Snapchat and Insta, but I don't really use them. Like I only use it because of one friend, like for Snapchat, one friend can't actually text through her phone because her mom will pay for the plan. So the only way for me to contact her is through Snapchat. And this is the same thing with another friend. That's why I have those two things, because they go to different schools. And I honestly think you just have to block people. Like in my personal experience, it's not hard to block someone who is being toxic and hurting you. Because I understand that it's hard when they're a friend of yours that you've been friends with for a while, or be it like you've known it in person or online. But there is a point where a line is crossed and you have to like stop talking to them. It's like same thing with what you do in real life. If someone is like rude to you as a friend, you just cut them off and say, hey, I don't want to deal with you no more. You're being toxic to me. Unless you're going to change, I don't think we can be friends. And that's how you cut someone out of your life. In real life, you do the same thing online. So that way you don't go down the further path of having them be more toxic and allowing more people into that toxic circle. And then it bites at you. And then also with being safe, it's more of, don't text strangers. Don't text someone you don't know. I understand if you play with them online on your PS4, Xbox, or whatever. I don't know how that works. But don't talk to them. Don't give them your information. Just because you play with them online and you think they're a kid doesn't mean they're actually a kid.
Yeah, social media is a great outlet to talk to people, to meet new people. But if you haven't shake, as far as I'm concerned, if you haven't actually had the chance to shake someone's hand, right, don't give them your credit card information, right? Don't tell them where you live. Don't give them anything that they could use against you, right? And you talked about how easy it is to block people, right? So let's come back to Emily here again, because she's always, I see her on Snapchat 24/7. So, I mean, how often do you have to block somebody?
I don't normally block people, but because I think it's mean to block. But like I know that's horrible. But I should have blocked multiple people at certain instances, and maybe that's a personal thing. That's a personal choice. We need to teach people to be stronger for themselves. That's a huge problem in this generation as well. But on top of that, I think we need to teach people to be strong for themselves. But that doesn't. You're only changing what you can control. But I think we need to also cause and like promote awareness for people who are causing it. If we can change an outlook on what cyberbullying is, then maybe people will stop cyberbullying and people won't have to be blocked and people won't have to, so I think we need to change both things.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, let's bring it into how we see it here at Glenn. I honestly have not seen any kid get bullied. Like, physically bullied, I have not seen. Emotionally, maybe it goes on, but I have not seen it. But let's think like cyberbullying as bullying in real life, all right? So cyberbullying is basically you're bullying someone with words or pictures. That can, if you see it in TV and movies, a girl is like in her bathroom, a weird guy just somehow gets in her bathroom and just snaps a picture and posts it all over school. That's like physical bullying. That's how it is online.
Yeah, it really is like that. It's like stalking. Like you're not in the shower, but I mean, your image is out there for everybody to see.
And like a girl could, or even a guy could have just been like, oh, I really like this girl. And he just sends her a beautiful poem to her. But then she trash talks it online and posts it on her story. Like, look at this disgusting thing this weirdo sent me. Let's bring that into real life. He writes a beautiful poem. He said, and then she plasters it all over the school and people write nasty things on it. That's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
If you equate, like, just because you don't physically see it doesn't mean it's not happening.
You still see you see the effects of it on people who are upset. They talk about it, right? And you see it they post about being upset. I mean, on Twitter, there's so many just like statements about how depressed everybody is.
Yeah, it sucks having to see people. Like, the only way they think they can be heard is posting about how sad they are. even those who post about how sad they are, they get bullied for being sad. Like, can they not? And like people get bullied for being happy, sad, angry. Is no one allowed to feel emotions anymore?
Exactly.
Like, that's my question.
Well, I guess like the whole point of this talk right now is like we can't change the world right now, but we can definitely change the climate of Glen. And maybe we need to start promoting awareness of safety and bullying at Glen, because change starts little by little.
Exactly. Like, it just goes like, talk to your friends more, like help them. If you see someone, like if you know your friend is like getting hurt by something, help them out. So be that support system. No matter, you may think it's something little, but that's because you aren't going through what they're going through. Like, be it big or small, help that friend out. Help out other people. If you see someone lashing out online, tell them, hey, chill out. Even if it goes into like an Instagram war or whatever, it's be that better person and just say, hey, chill out. Don't be like this. Or like, hey, don't do that. That ain't cool. So you aren't going to be thought of as badly if you just say, hey, stop. And that should go for Glenn. Like, everyone should respect each other. If you want respect, respect others as well, be it online and in real life.
Exactly. Thank you for watching. We're pretty much out of time today. So the big takeaway here at Glen is to respect each other and respect yourself enough to not become victim to cyberbullying.
And be careful of scammers, please.